Well, good morning. Whoops, got a frog in the throat over the weekend. Good morning, everybody. This is Gulf Harbour Radio. Patricia and David back with you again for the week. And we have a beautiful, clear morning here, clear skies. I'm just going to lean out the window. Oh, I see there's a bit of cloud on the northwest horizon.
Enjoy it while you can.
Enjoy it while you can, says the voice of doom beside me. But it is 17 degrees, so not all that tropical. 9 knots from the west we have at the moment. It's a little bit more outside, outside further away from land, that is. We have a barometer of 1010.4. We were just actually looking at Elisham's barometer reading. Yours might be a little bit on the high side, but it doesn't matter as long as you're looking at the direction that it's going. They are a bit further away from us, 33.30 and 175.16 east, and they are on their way. Boisterous conditions out there, 1 to 2 metre seas, and their wind is west-northwest 15.
Okay.
So there is, that's in agreement with the models, and that is a pretty good sailing wind. They don't say what speed they're doing. Anyway, looking at the satellite picture, it looks pretty grim in the middle, but absolutely glorious in Fiji today, so that's the place to be. Just talking to Diego up there in the Asawas, 27 degrees up there at a very light wind, so pretty decent up there. But boy, in between us and them, it's not very wonderful. Although Anthea are reporting from Minerva, it's not too bad wind-wise. 8 knots of northeast wind, light rain, and 100% cloud cover. You can't even see North Minerva underneath the little spot that it is on the satellite picture, and nor can you see Newcastle. But it's the report from Newcastle. Thank you, Alison and Jeff in Waisea. I wonder if they've had that nice lunch at Waisea there. But anyway, 5 knots from the south, 90% cloud cover, intermittent drizzle last night, and 24 degrees. So it's not too bad. They're going to head on up to Yate today, so that will be a good trip. So what else have we got there? Amazing grace, but no weather from you guys. A bit of work on things going wrong by the sound of the report. Keeps you busy, it gives you something to do. Andiamo, there's a little bit of a lack of wind up there, 20, we'll call it 29 and 175, 5 knots of southeast, very calm seas, bit of swell from various directions, cloud on the horizon, and 1015.7. Your barometer is pretty accurate there. So, all right, we've got a few reports in, and it sounds like no problems out there, but not very wonderful sailing conditions. And, of course, there was a very exciting weekend here, but first of all, I've got a couple of boats I need to try and find because they don't report in on yet. Let's try Toranui.
Gulf Harbour Radio, Toranui. Any copy, Patricia?
Excellent copy, Graham. Good morning to you too, Lynn. Go ahead, over.
Good morning, Patricia. We are motoring at about 5.5 knots. Early last night, over.
Okay, flat calm since early last night. I didn't get the course, over.
The course is 017 magnetic. And Patricia, while I've got you, our network data screen has burned out. I have a spare one at home. I wonder if you could talk to Craig on Revilo there on VR, if he could go to our house, and I have a spare network data BNG screen that he could bring up with him, over.
Okay, a network data VMG screen, and does he know where to find it, over?
It'll be in the workshop, in our workshop, in a big plastic shopping bag. There's quite a few old books and gatehouse here there, over.
Alrighty, a big shopping bag. I'm sure it's a New World shopping bag or a Pack and Save shopping bag if you're keeping in tune with your son. All right, I'll certainly do that. Have you got a telephone number to give me?
You're right for that. Telephone number is 021
got that, and I'll give him a call. If I can't get him, we know where he is. So no problem at all. And hopefully he'll know where it is. And if he doesn't, I can talk to you again tomorrow for more specific instructions. Yeah, you wouldn't want to find anything in our workshop, that's for sure. It'd take you half the day. All right. No other problems, Graham?
No, we're just thinking along moving. I guess we're going to run into some good weather, are we? I downloaded some weather factors, but it didn't show a lot. Are we running into some dirty weather, are we, over?
Yeah, well, actually, it's probably best to wait for David, because if I give him the microphone, I don't usually get it back again very quickly. So we'll wait for the roundup shortly. Is that all right with you, boss?
Yeah.
He'll cover that in a minute, Graham, because there's a couple of people out near where you are, over.
Roger. Thanks for that, Patricia. All the best. Standing by.
All right. Is there anybody else wanting to report in before I go on to news items? Well, there is quite a strong signal, but boy, it's not all that sharp and clear. Who was that? The boat that just called in, could you come again, please? Oh, it's Flying Cloud, I think. Boy, I'll probably be able to work it out. It's just not all that sharp. Go ahead with your, whatever it was, position or question, over.
Good morning. Good morning.
Yep, I've got 2354 south, 1710. We'll make it 06 west. Just the degrees is all we need. Carry on. Okay, got that. That would explain why it's a little bit muffled. It's quite close. 3354. Course and speed. Did you say 2.5 knots, over? Yeah, I've got the course, but I need the speed again. It seemed quite low, but there's not much wind out there. Go again with the speed. Yep, okay, that's a pretty slow progress there. And what are the wind and sea conditions, over? What wind you have is from the northwest. All right, it's actually getting a little bit clearer now. I just need your boat name again to make sure I've got it correct. Go ahead. Yep, you've come up really well now, so no problem there. All right, Flying Cloud is not exactly living up to name at the moment, but we'll see what wind is on the horizon for you for the rest of the day.
Not much.
Not much, says David. Oh, well, I guess
What's your say?
latitude is 3354.
Oh, yeah, you get some wind there.
Yeah, you might get some wind, he says. Whereabouts are you headed, over? Okay, oh, that's right. Yeah, gosh, the brain is slowly waking up here. So, yeah, you're heading east. That would explain the what's going on here. All right, we've got Flying Cloud on the way again. So, another one heading east. Boy, you're all leaving at different times, aren't you? And I talked to Alan Folk on Quintessa yesterday. You'll know that Alan is on the next every year. And he's heading to French Polynesia too, but not till after Queen's birthday weekend.
This day I'll have 20 knots tomorrow.
You're going to have 20 knots tomorrow, so you might as well relax today and prepare yourselves for a good 20 knots tomorrow. Over. Okay, all good on board. I'll put that in for those that are following you, and yep, that'll be an interesting one to follow along. Okay, clear with a flying cloud. I don't think I heard any more, but if there are others, we'll pick you up after the net, or after David's finished with the weather. Just a quick update of what's going on in the world. For those from America, the Kilauea volcano is really getting quite strong now. The lava flow is running at 274 meters per hour, which is still slow compared to the supercars, but it's now has crossed a road and isolated some more places, and in fact destroyed another 4 homes, and it's about 2.5 kilometers from the ocean, heading in that direction. Another bit of news, the South China Seas is heating up. The world is actually not all that in great shape at the moment. You might as well be out in the Southwest Pacific enjoying yourselves in a relaxed fashion, and you probably won't be relaxed if I carry on with the news, but anyway, the Chinese have had some exercises with their long-range bomber, which is called the H-6K, and about 6 of them practicing landing and so on at Woody Island in the Paracel group. These islands are claimed by Vietnam and Taiwan, so that wasn't something that was appreciated by their neighbours. And the Spratlys too, they've made, as you probably know, 7 islands, actually produced 7 islands, which is why we quite like them in New Zealand, to produce some decent roading. But anyway, they've made 7 islands in the Spratlys, and they're equipped with runways, hangars, radar, and missile stations, and so on. So they can now, with these long-range bombers, they've got a radius of over 3,500 kilometres, so they can basically get to anyone in Asia with these things. So not great news for the future, but we probably won't be around to see it. What else? Oh, well, of course, the big day yesterday, well, Saturday night for us really, was the big wedding. And absolutely brilliant spectacle from Britain, as you would imagine. Just totally spectacular. The beautiful sunny day that they had, all the wondrous hats and clothes that all the guests wore, and the bride, of course, looked absolutely magnificent. Very unusual. She had a dress from Givenchy, which surprised everyone. But the designer was, in fact, a British woman, so that wasn't too bad. But very classic, and no lace on it. It was just a beautiful crushed silk, very stylishly cut dress with an off-the-shoulder boat collar type thing, and a veil which was held in place by a band tiara from Queen Anne's day. But the veil had flowers embroidered into it, not that you could see them, from all of the Commonwealth countries. The New Zealand Kauai was there. I think there was about 56 Commonwealth countries, but the veil was about 4.5 meters long, so there was plenty of room for embroidering the flowers of every country. But yes, it was spectacular. Quite a different ceremony. They had a black pastor give a good stirring speech. It did go on for a bit long, but it was sort of a blend of English and American South, and quite spectacular, the whole thing, as you could imagine. And she arrived with her mother, who was very poised and lovely, and then got passed over to Prince Charles to walk down the aisle. So it was pretty spectacular. I would have to say that we didn't actually stay up to see it, but we saw bits of it on YouTube later. Well, that's about it for the news. Supercars had 3 Kiwis on the podium yesterday, which was rather good for New Zealand motor sport. Coulthard for the Shell Group, then McLaughlin, then Van Gisbergen. So it was a good weekend driving wise, and let's have a look at what the week is going to produce for you folk weather-wise who are trying to leave New Zealand. Yes, David.
Well, Patricia is very shy about this, but she was on a track yesterday. We were at Hampton Downs Raceway, and she did very, very well with her Porsche Cayman. So Leadfoot, that's what she is, a Leadfoot. She had some pretty good times, I can tell you. All right, good morning, and it's time to look at that 500 millibar again. We've got zonal flow, meaning most of the upper levels north of New Zealand are going west to east. A shortwave trough eases east of the South Island, and another shortwave is over lower Queensland in Australia. Now, a pronounced upper ridge, quite pronounced really, lies over the bight of Australia, creating and sustaining a 1032, 1033 anticyclone, and that's going to be ridging east toward Brisbane, and I would say by tomorrow, that ridge is going to be pushing out almost to the longitude of Vanuatu. Now, we've got cyclonic flow over the Tasman, and that includes New Zealand. It's a very, very large area, all westerly quadrant winds. Now, the outlook for Sea Area Brett, for those of you that are still here, are for fairly strong winds developing. Today, not so bad. Northwest about 15, but Tuesday, northwest 25, Wednesday 35, and then later on Wednesday there's going to be a shift to the southwest, and that's 35 knots. So it's going to create some very, very rough conditions through the Wednesday time frame. Thursday, it eases a bit to 25, and we talked about the possibility of going on Thursday. We'll talk about that in a minute. Looking at the synoptic chart today, New Zealand has its share of fronts, that's for sure. We've got a warm front, which is lying pretty close to Gulf Harbor Radio and up towards the Opua area. It's going to move off pretty quick. And a cold front not too far behind that, and then a second cold front behind that first one. So quite a few fronts over the country. Now by midnight, front's going to lie nearly over the Auckland area, and that's connected to a low that's just west of the North Island. Now on the passage routes, there's a very wide trough that lies halfway between New Zealand and Fiji. The center, or the axis, I suppose you could say, is between 26 and 27 south. Now, this is a fairly active trough. There's not a huge amount of wind in it, but active in the sense that there's a lot of cloud, and that usually brings the squall. So certainly be aware of that. And all of this is very, very evident on satellite imagery. Now, further to the west is another trough that's near Lord Howe. Then we've got yet another trough extending from 30 and 170 west to Vanuatu. So anyhow, between 22 south and 30 south, you're going to be sailing into these two troughs. So be prepared for that. Now, those who left Friday or Saturday may be nearing 30 south. In fact, you are. Toranui is right there at 30 south in 179, where you should continue to receive some westerlies there. But north of 30, though, there is a bit of a wind shift, very, very light air. I'm going to say variable. They could be anywhere south, southeasterly. They could be all over the place. So it's probably going to be a bit of a motor, I think, maybe tomorrow. Now, this air, particularly the southern portions of it, are going to be feeding the south edge of the trough. So by Wednesday, our yachts are probably going to be near 25 south, where again the wind is going to back to become southwesterly, light to moderate, and then southerlies north of 25. And so I'll just pause for a minute and look a little bit more closely, because quite a few of you are right around that 30 mark. Now, at tomorrow at 25 south, and I know most of you are not quite there yet, you'll be maybe 28, something like that, there is a small low that develops. Now, the models are picking this up. I would say the center of it would be 25 and the date line. And if you were to be looking at, well, the EC model's got a little bit to to the east of that, a little bit to the east. But you've got cyclonic winds right there. Now, they're not strong, but they are going around in a circle. And depending upon where you are, if you're well off to the east, they'd be northeasterlies. But if you're right around the date line, they could be northwesterlies. So a lot of change on the Tuesday time frame because of this. So be aware of that. But tomorrow, for most of you that are going to be around, say, 27, 28, like that, the winds are going to be, again, variable, very light and variable. So probably a motor, like I said. Now, on Wednesday, New Zealand is going to be entertaining another surface trough with associated fronts. Now, this is not a departure day for sure. Expect gusts 30 to 40 knots out of the west-southwest, thereabouts. Now, by Thursday, as I gave you the forecast around Brett, the winds are projected to ease just a little bit, southwest, give or take on that direction, but roughly southwest. So should you leave Thursday, by Friday, just north of New Zealand, expect westerly winds and maybe west-southwest, and they'll be in the 20-knot range. But by Sunday, the following Sunday, you will probably be near 30 south with 15 to 20-knot westerlies. Now, late Sunday, this is when the models disagree. GFS is showing a depression forming near Anisham and then traveling southeast. So by Monday morning, it's just to the south of Fiji. I would say right around 23 and the dateline. 23 and the dateline. And quite nasty looking, actually. Now, the other models don't show closed isobars, so they don't show a low completely forming as a depression, but they do show an active trough. So either way, we're going to have cloud and squally conditions, probably southeasterlies. However, EC on Monday, in other words, a week from now, does show a low actually forming. So they sort of agree with GFS, but they're a little bit later than GFS in terms of when this thing forms. And that one is going to be nearly over Nuku'alofa in the Tonga area. So at this time now, our high that was slowly moving east from the Oz Bight is going to be pushing a ridge into the Tasman and toward Fiji. So winds then in the Tasman will be southerly, and they'll be feeding this tropical trough with nice cool air, and that's going to actually invigorate the rain bands and the squalls. So the question is, Thursday, is this a window? In our view, it's possible, but Friday, if you do go Thursday, Friday a front is going to catch you up as you head north, and sea conditions are probably going to be fairly rough. Then there's the gamble of the possible tropical depression, mild as it is, but still there, forming near Vanuatu possibly, or possibly further east. Now, GFS has very strong winds just for a little while in the system, but not very nice. If GFS is wrong, troughing is, like I said, probably going to be the alternative. In short, I don't think Chameleon, that's us, we would leave. I don't think we would make this voyage. There are too many uncertainties. The models are not agreeing. They're coming close to agreeing, but they're not close enough to each other to have any real faith. But again, we are very conservative. You may not care. So what is next if not Thursday? Well, next weekend, a trough does settle over New Zealand, as I mentioned. And the following Tuesday, conditions over New Zealand look pretty good, looking at long-range frogs. I see nice light to moderate southerlies, and those are courtesy of the Australian ridge. and that starts to dominate the entire Tasman. Now this high moves east by the following Monday, and that's about the 4th of June, I think. Now, its western quadrant is going to be over New Zealand, so that means easterly winds at 30 south to maybe 22 south. So those aren't bad direction winds, but convective activity is quite possible in this. In spite of that convection that I'm picking up, things will no doubt change. The models are certainly not going to be then what we see now. Looking at how this year has shaped up so far, that's been the case. So what I'm telling you now is what we think may happen, just an idea. But if you don't make the Thursday and you're looking at what is next, then possibly this next one could be the one. Now that's Tuesday, the 29th, I believe that's the date. Tuesday, so basically a week from today. Now a quick look at the islands before we sign off here. Mostly from satellite imagery I'm picking this up, shows Tonga right on the edge of the trough that we mentioned before, the northern edge of the trough. So expect cloudy periods and scattered showers there. Winds light to moderate easterlies over Vavau, northeasterlies over the Hapais. Fiji looks pretty good on imagery, as Patricia mentioned. Winds mostly northeasterlies, 10 to 15 in the eastern half, and well, east-northeast to east in the western half. Pretty reasonable, not light to moderate air. Vanuatu is on the receiving end, I'm afraid, of our trough. Clouds on the northern side of the trough are affecting pretty much the whole group. Now you'll see breaks in this because this is the edge of it. So we'll have a lot of cloud, and then the sun can come out, look nice, and then more clouds. So you're right on the verge of this trough coming over there. Now winds are light to moderate, mostly easterlies from Malakula into the south, and then south between the two, and then north of that, probably southeasterlies. Poor New Caledonia, well, they're in the middle of these troughs. Plenty of cloud and showers look to be the ticket today for New Cal. Winds moderate, though, from the southeast. I'd say just 10 to 15 knots, light to moderate. So not too bad in terms of wind strength, but probably not so great for getting a suntan. So that's the story for the weather. Those of you on Passage, if you have any questions, more detailed questions, come now.
We've stopped streaming for some reason. And apologies for those who are listening on streaming. It seems to have stopped for some reason or another, and I don't know how to start it again because it tells me it's actually still working, but there's nothing actually coming out of it. And Graham, you'll have to chuckle on Toranui there, because when I called Craig, he had been listening, and so he knew who the phone call was from. So, all right, there's just a couple of other reports have come in from Trigger and Anahata. Not much wind out there, but David on Anahata thinks he's going to put up the asymmetric spinnaker, so that might at least move him along a bit. He's at 29 with only 5 to 10 knots of easterly, and Trigger is at 23 south with 7 knots of easterly. So, Eagles Wings say we are. Well, that's interesting. Thank you very much, Eagles Wings, and I've forgotten your quote name, Steve, North Star. Okay, anybody else with anything, please call. No, and it is still streaming. It means that just the report from down here is, well, we'll have to have a look at what's going on. But that's good. Thank you for the reports there, folks. Sounds like it's pretty much the same weather further north as it is here. A little bit on the damp, chilly side up there in Whangarei, which it always is. 10 knots of northwest, so a bit more wind up there than it is here, 1011.5. And good morning to the crispy clear day in Otua for those listening. Good morning to you, Ron and Sue. Actually, I had Peter Bors asking after you yesterday. Okay, and for those that remember Aridonna on air last year, they are actually cruising in their land yacht, Lily. And they crossed the Pyrenees yesterday and then through a big tunnel into Spain. They are doing a lot of Ks at the moment from when they started, so they're going to be some time in Spain now. So greetings from Heather and Carl on ex-Aridonna and now in Lily. Anybody, final call with anything? We'll be back again tomorrow, of course. No, nothing heard. Enjoy the day. It's absolutely glorious here. It's very damp. Obviously rained overnight or early morning, but beautiful clear skies. So good days. It's a good day for getting boat jobs done and going for hikes or whatever it is that you do to fill in time before leaving. Cheers, everybody. The frequency's now all yours. I don't know what's wrong. It says, I mean, usually I get a printout here of the desktop audio, and it's not showing anything. It's really weird.